Nobody saw this blockbuster move coming on a Sunday night, but it is officially happening. Von Miller is fulfilling his longtime dream and finally suiting up with the Dallas Cowboys on a brand new one-year deal. The front office made the shocking call to bring in a legendary pass rusher, and the entire defensive landscape just shifted in an instant. If you want the fastest, most passionate, and unfiltered football breakdowns all season long, do not forget to hit that like button, share this video with fellow fans, and subscribe to the channel right now. Can you actually believe this front office pulled the trigger after months of playing hard to get? For what feels like years, Von Miller made it no secret on social media and across every interview that he desperately wanted to wear the star. He dropped hints, praised the organization, and practically campaigned for an opportunity to play in Dallas. Yet every single time the rumor surfaced, the official word out of the building was a firm, resounding no. Insiders repeatedly reported that the team had zero interest and had made no contact whatsoever. They seemed dead set on staying away, making it look like the ship had sailed completely. Then out of nowhere, right before the regular season ramp-up and without waiting for upcoming joint practices or preseason games, the news broke. It is real, it is verified, and the paperwork is in motion. When you look at this roster build, you have to acknowledge the ambition. Even if Von Miller is no longer the unstoppable, lightning-fast defensive juggernaut who terrorized offensive tackles in his absolute physical prime, football games are won in the trenches by generating pressure. If you have an opportunity to inject proven pass-rushing pedigree into your rotation, you take that chance every single time. It is an aggressive play designed to win right now, and the organization deserves immense credit for recognizing that you can never have too many disruptive rushers on the edge. Because this agreement was struck so rapidly, the roster mechanics are already churning behind the scenes. Bringing in a veteran of this magnitude on a one-year agreement requires an immediate corresponding roster transaction. Whether that means placing someone on injured reserve or outright releasing a player on the bubble, a tough decision has to be made immediately to finalize the official signing. Financially, the salary cap situation allowed this exact luxury. Following recent contract restructuring and defensive cap adjustments, the front office had created just enough breathing room to absorb a short-term, incentive-laden veteran contract worth a few $1 million. The money works, the player is ecstatic, and the coaching staff gets an elite situational weapon. Now, let us get straight into our official question of the day, and I want every single one of you down in the comments giving your raw, unfiltered reaction. How do you grade this Von Miller signing on a scale from A to F, and what is your immediate one-word reaction to seeing him in Dallas? Drop your letter grade and your one-word thought in the comments below, because this is dividing the fan base in the best way possible. To understand what he brings, we have to look realistically at his production and career trajectory. He is entering his age 37 campaign, meaning expectations have to be calibrated properly. Last season with the Washington Commanders, he managed to battle his way to 9 sacks, proving that when he is healthy and dialed in, his veteran savvy can still disrupt passing lanes. That 9-sack total was significant, especially considering the ups and downs of his recent injury history. In 2024, he tallied 6 sacks. In 2023, he fought back from major injury and finished without a sack, while 2022 saw him post 8 sacks before his knee injury cut things short. You have to go all the way back to 2021 to see his 9.5-sack championship run with the Rams, which remains his highest output since 2018. Expecting a 37-year-old edge rusher to magically turn into a 15-sack centerpiece who plays 60 snaps a game is completely unrealistic. That would be setting him up for failure. But if the defensive staff uses him correctly, they will not ask him to grind out base running downs or anchor against heavy ground schemes. His ideal role is purely situational. You turn him loose on obvious passing downs, let him pin his ears back on 3rd and long, and allow him to use his masterclass hand technique and initial burst against tired offensive tackles. In a targeted, 15 to 20 snap per game role, his efficiency could skyrocket. However, adding a high-profile veteran creates an immediate, high-stakes ripple effect across the entire defensive end room. A ruthless numbers crunch is coming, and it is going to claim some very notable names. Look at the locks at the top of the depth chart. You have your core foundational rushers who are absolute locks to secure their spots on the final 53-man roster. Once you lock in your top tier, you are realistically looking at only one or two remaining spots for a massive group of hungry players fighting for their NFL lives. That puts immense pressure on guys like James Houston, Sam Williams, Marist Liufau, Tyrus Wheat, and Isaiah Land. Look at the direct clash of roles between James Houston and Von Miller. Houston is fundamentally a designated pass rush specialist whose value comes from bending around the edge on third down. But with Miller in town, that exact specialist role is now occupied by a future Hall of Famer. Can you afford to keep both? Then you look at Sam Williams, who brings valuable power against the run and heavy special teams experience, but who has also played deep into preseason rotations without having his status completely locked down. With cut-down day approaching fast, the front office might be forced to consider exploring the trade market. Rather than losing a talented young edge rusher for nothing on the waiver wire, could they package someone to acquire a day 3 draft pick or address another position of urgent need? Carrying 6 pure edge rushers on an active game day roster is a massive luxury that directly robs depth from critical areas like wide receiver, safety, or the offensive line. If injuries strike the offensive trenches, holding 6 defensive ends becomes completely unsustainable. This creates a fascinating tactical puzzle for the coaching staff to solve over the coming days. On top of the edge rush madness, there is another critical area of the defense demanding attention. According to league insider Jeremy Fowler, the front office has quietly been exploring the free agent market for veteran cornerback help, with Adoree Jackson emerging as a major name to monitor. While the coaching staff feels confident in their starting outside cornerbacks, questions remain about depth and consistency behind the frontline starters. Certain young defensive backs were heavily protected during preseason action, while other rotational corners have missed crucial snaps due to minor setbacks. The team feels relatively stable with their inside nickel options after strong preseason showings from their slot defenders, but finding a reliable, veteran outside corner with proven starting experience could be the final puzzle piece before Week 1 kicks off. Whether it is closing the deal on the defensive line or hunting for extra coverage in the secondary, the front office is signaling that they are all in on optimizing this defense for a championship run. Von Miller wanted this opportunity more than anything, and now the pressure shifts directly onto the field. He has the stage, he has the star on his helmet, and the entire football world will be watching to see if he still has that legendary magic left in the tank.